Morning, my friends. This is another one of those talking head videos rather than a heavily produced one, a heavily edited one. And I think it works. I think if I'm just here honest with you and chatting, I think it works. So probably a lot easier it's easier for me and I can get my videos out without a lot of fuss. So one reoccurring question that comes up in the comments was whether Heather was aware of her condition or aware that she had dementia, I guess, early on, and how she reacted to it. So um, I kept a journal. I kept notes, knowing early on that I'd have to get her to a doctor at some point, and I wanted to have dates and actual things to talk to the doctor about. So I kept notes, and I noted there are a few things here, like in June of 2021 was when she handed over the banking duties and the household finances to me. And then she lost my car keys. They were just in her purse, very unusual. And she started wanting me to drive her to appointments and to shopping. So she stopped wanting to drive. That was in June of 2021. Okay, what do you
Okay.
want?
I'll have foils coming over my face, right? And just have my hair down to like right here. And I would just yeah I would have them like streaks, like streaks, and
Okay.
that would have that would be how
All right.
that's how it would go.
I'll send it. And in July was that incident I described where she called me to say she had lost the keys to the car while walking Penny at the park, at Point Pleasant Park. And when I arrived with the spare keys, I described it as she crumpled. She crumpled a bit because the keys were on the hood of the car, and she recognized that this was a failure of memory and cognition. She knew that this was bad, so she crumpled. And as the days went on, not weeks but days, I had asked her at one point. I had a light bar rented for some musical event that I was working on, and it had to be returned to the musical rental store. She was going to do that for me, and I think she went to the store but didn't bring the light bar with her, and then she was completely confused when she arrived to return them. When she arrived at the store, she was so confused and she kind of fell apart. And I talked to her. The light bar was sitting right at the front door where it was supposed to be, where she was supposed to pick it up. That was a nice afternoon. Heather and I went to the Y.
Yes,
and
we
we
went to the Y.
swam
Yes,
25, 30 laps, something like that.
we had a good time. Yeah.
And then we came down here to the shopping center and
Yes.
had some pad thai.
Oh my God.
And then
Tad,
Heather got a
yeah.
nice sweater.
I got a nice sweater. Yes.
And now we're going to
Yes.
head home.
Yes.
And there was a story about a Canadian fertility doctor who was impregnating his clients with his own or random donated sperm. It was a hell of a story. It was in the news, and she wanted to tell me about it. We commonly shared news stories. We would sit there in the morning drinking our coffee and tell each other about the interesting news stories we had read or seen online that morning. We were active and engaged and stuff. And so my note here says she was unable to come up with a way to tell me about it. I stayed quiet, listening with my radar going off and the alarm bells going off. I eventually filled in the gaps of the story for her, and that's when she said, I don't know why and then she mumbled something. So she knew there was something wrong with her memory. In August, we were walking along the waterfront boardwalk here in Halifax, a beautiful wooden boardwalk that spans the length of the harbor. And we walked past this new plaza. It's called the Muir, I think it is. Anyways, it has restaurants and so on. And she looked around and said, "Is that new? Is that new?" Well, we have seen this many times before. She said, "Is this new?" So when these things happened, I just kind of rolled with it and kept quiet while being extremely alarmed. Um, and, there were other things that get confusing. One day she was at the hairdresser and she texted me um, the message saying "Hello Fresh box." Hello Fresh is a meal prep delivery service. Hello Fresh box with a question mark. No clue what she was referring to. We didn't have Hello Fresh, and she mentioned it again later in that day. Hello Fresh, but no, she's confused about it. August 10th, puzzled how to send an email to Jasmine at the doggy daycare. Heather, unable to send an email? Are you kidding me? And, August 15th, she talked about our daughter, Kate, being upset that her mother had died. Well, this was Heather's mother. This was Kate's grandmother. And she repeated that a few times. Not the sort of mistake she would make. And, this is just every few days there was something new. Here, August 20th, we were at the coffee shop and she said, I just can't think anymore. I don't know what to say. So this was prior to my daughter's wedding, our daughter's wedding. And at the wedding, our daughter pulled me aside and asked if Heather was okay. And I confessed that was the first time I'd ever talked about it with anyone and that I had the same concerns. And I said, I don't know if it's dementia or it's some kind of neurological issue. And that was the first time I talked about potential for dementia with anybody. And, our daughter said she was wondering if it was some kind of medical issue or if Heather had just given up after retirement. So, and at the wedding, Heather was supposed to bring her mother's necklace and earrings and whatever else, some jewelry, old jewelry, for Kate to wear at the wedding. And she completely forgot about it and wasn't even aware that she forgot about it until I think it was after the ceremony. Kate, of course, being the class act that she is, didn't raise it. But, this was alarming because that was a major feature. They were supposed to do that before the wedding, get together, do the makeup and whatever, and hand the jewelry over. And, Heather didn't give Kate their congratulations card. It was a number of other things like that. When Heather was supposed to drive somewhere, she was holding her car key, and I pointed out it was time to go, and she said, "So I have the car key. Is that good?" Try it. Yeah, rock and roll forever. In August, she regularly forgot that if she had fed the dog. Unbelievable for Heather. She was so on top of everything. She didn't forget things like that. So, in August, talking with Kate, we wondered if it was hypothyroidism because Heather had seemed to have an increased sensitivity to cold and a few other things, weight gain. So there were symptoms, but it ended up not being hyperthyroidism. She was checked for that. And, in August, Heather gave up wine as well. Not that she ever drank any appreciable amount of it. She would measure her wine in a measuring cup for the week to stay within the Health Canada guidelines. I mean, we're talking 8 ounces a week type of deal. So, but she gave it up because she thought she said, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's my brain fog. It just went on and on and on. So August 26th, I had a conversation with Heather. She was trying to make a dentist appointment and she had a really hard time. She couldn't figure out how to use her Google Calendar. She came to talk to me about it. She actually sat down with me, and she said she knows she had brain fog, and then she said, or maybe dementia. So this was August 26th. I said, did you consider talking to your doctor? She said, no, I just need some time to let it clear. And so this was when the subject was first broached, August 21st of 2021. 3 years ago, more or less almost today.
I, yeah, I yeah, love you. Yeah. Good. I love you too. I love you too. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
A week later, we went for a long e-bike ride. That's the video of us riding on the Salt Marsh Trail. And I asked, how's the brain fog? She said, I just need time for it to clear. And I asked, have you been thinking and worrying about it? She said, yes. And then went very quiet. So, there were more memory lapses shortly after that. My brother and sister were coming for a visit, and I had prepared food for a big family supper. And at noon, she says to me, is anyone coming today? On and on and on. September 9th, we went on a whale watching trip. There's a video about that as well. And she missed 2 highway exits despite me sitting beside her saying, take the next right, take the next right, take the next right. And she was unable to make the decision. She just stayed on the road and drove right past it. Of course, I don't get upset about stuff like that, but I was very alarmed. That was more than just a minor driving issue. That was a processing issue. It was clearly a processing issue. What do you think of your cheese toasty? Good? Is it good? Yeah. Cheese toast. Yum, yum, yum. That's how to make you happy, right? So on the 14th of September, we had a phone consultation with her doctor. And I was on the phone, of course, as well. This was the height of COVID, so it was all by phone. And we got a requisition for blood work, chest x-ray, and a CT scan. And, we had ongoing problems. She left her credit card at a parking machine in a parking garage and just left the card half in and half out of the slot and couldn't figure out what to do. September 19th, she lost her driver's license. We sure searched everywhere, and then I said, look on the sleeve on the back of your phone. There was her driver's license. It went on and on and on. So on October 1st, after her CT scan, we got a call from her doctor. And the doctor read the letter from the radiologist. And the radiologist said, asymmetrical atrophy of the left temporal lobe, mostly in the front temporal lobe, but sparing the occipital lobe, consistent with primary progressive aphasia. And the doctor relayed this in a very matter-of-fact way. And so I started reading up on primary progressive aphasia, and that's where I realized what was going on, that it was dementia. So, at that point I decided, well, we're going to have to accept this and learn to live with it and try not to worry too much about the future. Very hard not to worry about the future. So I said, another note here, October 6th, I chatted with her. She was very calm and accepting. Bear in mind that the damage had already started, so her cognition was already impacted. Her emotions were getting kind of flat, and maybe she didn't have the mental horsepower to process the implications of this. So she was very calm and accepting about it. She kept talking about aphasia. And she thought that with some speech therapy, she would learn her coping mechanisms. And so it seemed to me she had not hoisted aboard or researched or read up on the potential for total loss of speech and the degenerative nature of dementia. She said she felt normal and doesn't seem to feel degeneration. So obviously missing the point. And, the cognitive decline just went on and on. Okay, October 26th, we got a phone call from her doctor again. And she got a neurology referral to geriatrics. The blood test was all fine, no B12 issue, no thyroid issue. And I think she had a renal ultrasound at some point too, also no issue, probably unrelated. But the confusion kept up. Heather remained calm, but I could tell that she was a little concerned because she started some light jogging and doing crossword puzzles. So she's trying to improve her situation. And she said, in fact, she seems like she feels she's getting better. Whee! Battery's getting low. Uh-oh. Funny. But I noticed she had a hard time with simple crosswords, and we used to play cribbage. Got us through the early days of COVID. Every evening after supper, the big cribbage tournament, and she struggled with the simple addition of cribbage. But she seemed to feel she was going to be okay. Cheese! November 23rd, she wrote, to my dear wife on an anniversary card addressed to me. And late in November, she said, there's nothing going on. I don't know what's going on. So basically, it was just from then till now, it's been ongoing loss of mental capacity and cognition and mental horsepower and all what you'd expect with dementia, physical decline as well. More recently, I'm not going to go into detail what's going on, but it's as you would expect. She's never really been upset about it. So, as you can tell by my description, she was aware that there was something going on. She seemed aware that it was dementia, but like I said, she referred to it as the aphasia or my aphasia. So,
happy anniversary. 30, 38, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 lovely years.
Yeah.
With more than that being together. 45 years in total. Do you have a good sleep?
Yeah.
Good.
there still seems to be a bit of a hurdle or stigma, not just here, but everywhere, with saying dementia. I don't know why it's so difficult to say that, but it is. Uh, People try to soften it, I guess. And has she been upset? No, but you can tell my style is to keep things light and to try not to get down about things. I try not to get upset about things. And I try, not always successfully, to not get frustrated about things. And I think the key in a lot of those situations is to just really lower your expectations, to give up on things. It's part of the letting go process, but to give up on what you think you can accomplish in the course of a day. Keep it simple. Keep your loved one clean, safe, and happy. I mean, really, what else is there? Fed, I guess. This is palliative care, folks. This is not about improving life. Life's not going to improve. It's going to go downhill. So it's about making things comfortable and as painless mentally and physically as possible. So that's why I keep it simple. The KISS principle, and why I try to keep laughter in the household and basic, simple acts of affection. Even though it's not reciprocated, I know it makes a difference. So I went on quite a bit longer than I'd planned, and I hope that this helps answer some of the questions. And I really appreciate your subscribing, wherever that is. Here, maybe? No, here. You're subscribing and liking this video and following along. Again, what a sense of community. I'm just so grateful for it. So bye. There's a better edited video coming out, I think, tomorrow. So goodbye for today. Stay strong. You're not alone.